Hey everybody, welcome to Culture Chronversations. My name is Jonah and I'm a news editor for the Chronicle. On Culture Chronversations, we ask broad questions about topics we're usually not able to touch on in our standard reporting. And to give you an idea of who works at the Chronicle and who we are, we're rotating guests each week to ensure that everybody gets a chance to speak. But note that we are recording through Zoom, so keep that in mind while you're listening in. On today's episode, we'll dive into the role technology plays in our lives, the value of our data, and what that data even means. You're watching Culture Chronversations. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good.
Thank you Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate both of you sort of lending your time to speak about some fun stuff. Would you two want to introduce yourselves, your names, what you do with the Chronicle, all that fun stuff?
Hi, I'm Shane. I'm the senior graphic designer for the Columbia Chronicle.
I'm Cam. I'm the director of photography for the National Chronicle. My God, for the Columbia Chronicle.
What's the National Chronicle? Is that
I
next?
have no idea.
Maybe that's next. So
That's
I'm surrounded by two artists right now, which is rare for me. I try to distance myself from artists. So we're all taking new steps here. I'm excited to talk about what we're talking about today. I love how we're kicking off it's not the first episode of Culture Chronversations, but it's our first sort of Redux episode with a super, super serious kind of apathetic topic about whether or not our technology is listening to us, if we should do anything about it, if TikTok is hunting us, all that fun stuff. So I'm excited to sort of get into it. I figure, Shane, we could sort of start talking about sort of what you wanted to bring up with, whether or not our phones are listening to us. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so definitely something I've been thinking about for like the last year or so, especially after lots of my like totally innocent, just everyday sort of conversations I got this ad about shaving or something right after I talked about that haven't shaved my legs in maybe 2 years or something with some of my friends. And then for the next couple of days all my ads are just about shaving or just really seemingly very niche things. I looked up sheet music one time on Google, and
sheet
then on
or sheep? Like the animal sheep?
Music. Yeah, piano sheet music.
Okay.
And then on Pinterest the next day, several recommended posts to me were sheet music or piano lessons or just different things like that. And it's starting to kind of bug me, but it's definitely not enough to make me any of my habits or anything turn off the microphone and Messenger or whatever. I don't know, have you guys started noticing the same things?
100%. Yeah, all the freaking time, dude. And I feel like it's always for the really, really weird niche stuff that you wouldn't look up otherwise. You know what I mean? I thought about getting a kayak for a while. I did just buy a kayak, and it is awesome. But I was really, really into kayaking for a week, and then there's another week where I was really into this idea of building my own table, and then immediately just getting bombarded with ads targeted, from Home Depot or from REI and all this stuff that usually I wouldn't go out and sort of search up. So 100%, I'm with you. I've definitely begun to notice that stuff.
It wasn't such a big deal for me until I got a Google Home. And then I realized that it listens all the time. It never stops listening. It's listening to this conversation right now. It's listening to me, I don't know, watch something on Netflix, because it never actually turns off unless you unplug it, which is a really fun fact that I found out after I looked it up, because I kept getting ads for things that I was talking to my roommate about, which was terrifying.
So my question is do we care? You know what I mean? Because I feel this is a pretty popular thing. I mean, I know that myself and my friends have spoken about something like this before, and I think, Shane, one of the things you mentioned when you started sort of talking about this to me through our email chain when we set this thing up was there's this weird sort of almost apathy kind of surrounding it. It's well, we know they're listening, but whatever, you know what I mean? They're already listening, so what's the point? I mean, do you guys care?
I mean, my Google Home is still plugged in my apartment, so clearly not very much. I think obviously like there's an unease, but I've also read like news articles about murders getting solved because people's like echoes were on while they were getting murdered. So I'm like, well, the worst case scenario, if something terrible happens, there's evidence. And I don't think my information's that interesting. I mean, if somebody really wants to go in and hack into my Google Home and listen to me talk about my plant for 30 minutes, they can, but I don't think that they would care that much.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Like, every time like I try to do something, like maybe I turn off like microphone access for like Instagram, like, or like Messenger or whatever, like I just end up having to turn it back on again anyway, because as an illustrator, I use like Instagram stories to kind of like post about my day or like share things, and they absolutely like will not let you post if like microphone and camera access like isn't enabled.
Right.
So like I'll turn it off, but I just end up turning it back on again anyway. And like there are lots of alternative things that you can do. Like I know that, you know, like you can get like a specialized messaging app with like encrypted text and whatever. But like I don't know, like you're totally right. Like there is just like this sense of apathy, and also like I also have nothing to hide. So it's like, oh well, I don't know.
I feel like you got something to hide, Shane. I don't believe that for a second. That virtual background, you're hiding all kinds of things, man. There could be a corpse back there.
No, just my messy bedroom.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I do have some things to hide. and so it kind of freaks me out a little bit. You know what I mean? But I agree.
Did you do anything about it?
No. But it's like, what would I do? You know what I mean? I really don't know what like the next step would be, because I can't just not use my phone. I work at the freaking Chronicle, dude. Like the phone's my life, dude. I gotta call people and check Slack and all this stuff. And if I don't have my computer, I mean, my life's over, man. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna guess, but I do have a professor who I'm like really close with, who like actively tries to get his like, well, are you guys Apple users?
I'm not.
So on the iPhone, there's like this thing that like shows you how many hours you've spent on like on your phone, like on a weekly basis, like your average amount of hours per day. And he actively tries to get his to zero, and he's like super paranoid about like the government listening in on him and like selling his like data to like Russian hackers. It's so funny because like I'm always like ha ha ha, like that's so funny, but like he's so serious about it. And I'm thinking like maybe we should be too, like I don't know.
Yeah, it reminds me of like those I used to have a bunch of my friends in middle school used to put like the piece of tape over the webcam. You know what I mean?
Still do that.
For real? So like why do you do that? You know what I mean? What you know, stuff like this is tracking you, and you just can't take that next step.
I don't know. I think there's something there's something different with like, oh, like user like 8,132 looked up, like, I don't know, horses for sale in Alabama versus like someone literally spying through my video camera as I'm like making gross faces, like hunched over, like in my third hour of like drawing. Like it's, I don't know, it's different. Like I don't know what they're doing with my face. They can do whatever with like whatever I look up on the internet, because I'm not like directly connected to that. But like when it comes to like my visage, my face, what are they doing with it? What do they need that for, you know?
Right. I see what you're saying.
I mean, maybe I'm just stupid. I don't care what anyone does with my face. Maybe I should care a little bit more now that we live in like the era of deepfakes. But my logic right now, as it has always been, is that I am simply not important enough to care yet. I don't know.
That's a bummer way to think about it.
I mean, it's true though, right?
I think you're important, Cam.
I'm so glad you do. But yeah, I just don't think that my information is important. And like Shane said, I don't have very much to hide. I think for a while when all the news started coming out about kind of like deep fakes, I did get a little worried, and I guess I should, in case someone doesn't know what a deep fake is. my very like non-techie definition is just like an edited face on video, right? Made to do something that that person is not actually doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of it popped up circa like 2017, 2016, right? Of like Obama saying things that he wasn't saying, and then I know a bunch of celebrities got uploaded to like porn sites, even though they obviously had never done porn before. So that was my concern, because I was always like, well, what if somebody like, I don't know, seeks revenge against me and I end up on like some horrible website. But
there's a,
you know,
I'm gonna share my screen real quick. There's a video that comes. I love the top. I don't love deepfakes. I really don't like deepfakes. But the whole topic of deepfakes is like always fascinated me. Yeah, here we go. See, look at his face now.
He's super stoked.
Wait, what the heck?
Yeah, do you see what I'm saying?
happened?
And look how seamlessly this blends back into his real face.
That's terrifying.
And there's another part.
Oh my gosh, what the heck?
You see that?
Yeah.
Have you not seen this? Have you not seen this before, Shane?
I have not. No.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
it's crazy. Hold on, there's another one, man.
how do they do this?
So the way I was actually just watching a video on this. How do I stop? There we go. So the way deepfakes work is that it's all run through a computer program that essentially you gather as many photos as you can of one person from different angles where you want lighting and stuff like that to be similar. So like the program has less sort of variables it has to take into consideration. But you take it from all of these angles. And you can also do it from, they can be completely unrelated photos of the same person. And essentially the program finds what all those photos has in common. And then it has it from all those different points, right, where the camera shot and where the light's hitting. And so it's able to reconstruct that. And then you just map it onto another person's face. So I could be, Camilla right now if there was enough, photos of me to get that out there. It's crazy.
That is crazy. Wow.
It's horrifying. But it's also kind of fun. I don't know. I don't think it's been used for too many nefarious things right now. Except, there's like some crazy stuff out there where people are using it for like pornography. People are like bringing people's faces on to like porn stars, like using it for that. Just really, really gross stuff. It's kind of spooky to think about.
Interesting.
Yeah,
like interesting in a bad way, like not interesting in a good way.
I know. And that's why and I love technology. I'm a big tech guy, but that's the side of tech where I'm like, I don't know if we've gone too far or something like that,
Yeah. And that kind of ties into is your webcam recording you. I'm like, well, if somebody can hack into my webcam and get my face at different angles and then
make a
face me
deepfake
onto a porn, like I don't want that. That's my fear.
Yeah.
But I also am not scared enough of it to happen to actually put tape over my camera. Maybe I should be.
Here's the pizza tape that I use. It's like
oh, you got it.
I was covering the Chicago Marathon almost a year ago, and they gave reporters like little tabs to put over their webcams. Like it was a branded like Bank of America Chicago Marathon little plastic tab.
So great. It's like now they're commodifying it.
Exactly.
They're like commodifying our fear of being like commodified, like having our stuff sold. It's so weird. All right. I think so. Like overall, I guess we could sort of wrap up this topic. How are we feeling? Spooky, but we're not that spooked.
Yeah. It is every internet tracking thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm scared, but not enough.
Well, What do you think, Shane?
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if this is like a generational thing. Like we are the generation that literally has grown up with tech. Like I cannot imagine like I've never grown up without it. Like my very first memories, like I remember my dad sitting at like his very first computer, running like a super early version of Photoshop and like doing whatever with it. So like I don't know, like for people like my professor, like he's obviously like he's I think like in his like 50s or 60s, like he's grown up in a time that like didn't have tech, and in his lifetime it has grown and like sprawled out into this like kind of scary thing that like he's trying to, I believe, like process and control in some way like how tech affects him. But I feel like for us, like I feel like our apathy kind of comes from like, well, we haven't really like ever lived a life without it. of has evolved independently throughout our lifetime. So it's just kind of something we accept more readily than others. I don't know.
No, I think you're completely on it with that. My dad's the same way. Like, he doesn't use any social media or anything like that because he just doesn't like the idea of being, he doesn't want that stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, like, growing up and all that, I got on Facebook super early when I was like 9, like right when it, like a couple years after, I don't know when it got launched. I think it got launched in like 2009 or something. So I was like there, day one,
Yeah.
D-Day for Facebook. And so, like, growing up, people have always been like, well, social media, turns you against, people people that are actually your friends. It like gets you obsessed with just like likes, followers, and all this stuff. And I was been like, yeah, shut up, dude. Like, I don't believe it. You know what I mean? Because I don't think I'm obsessed with that stuff. Maybe I actually am. But I've always felt that it was a lot of hoopla.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Shane. It's definitely something that's been normalized. And I think some of my apathy comes from the fact that I've just kind of accepted that I can't really control it, like no matter how hard I try. So
Yeah.
there's no point,
Yeah.
right? Like I know that there will always be people who are smarter than me and can hack into my computer. Listen, I'm not a very like tech savvy person beyond like coding one line of like text on a web page. So there will be people who are smarter than me who, if they want to get to me, there's nothing that I can do to stop them.
Oh.
And maybe that's a little apocalyptic, but there's no point.
So I mean, so this is interesting to me to hear from you, Cam, because what you wanted to talk about sort of the larger TikTok, Facebook debacle that's been going on, and I know that you are a big fan of TikTok. You are a creator yourself.
I'm not a creator.
Are you? Oh my gosh. I
She
need to
is.
follow you.
I make one TikTok a month. It's very exciting.
Wow.
Regardless, consistency is all that matters. Could you tell us a little bit about what's going on with sort of this TikTok thing you've been interested in?
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, the US government essentially announced that they were going to try to ban TikTok. And that mainly came out of fears of data mining, and I think the precedent of India banning TikTok as well probably influenced it a little bit. And it kind of caused this like uproar of discussion among kind of tech experts and also governmental bodies, right? Of how do we ensure that people's information and data is safe? Do we care that people's information and data is safe? And to what extent do we control that, and can we, right? So while the TikTok thing was very interesting to me, I really kind of, what piqued my interest the most was this kind of Washington Post article that I read or like listened to on Post Reports, and then I went back and read it. But it essentially was a comparison between how TikTok data mines and how Facebook data mines.
Yeah.
And it essentially, the conclusion was it's exactly the same, right? Mm-hmm. So the amount of information that TikTok grabs off of your phone is the exact same from the amount of data that Facebook grabs off your phone. If anything, it's a little bit less because you don't use TikTok to log into things, but you do use Facebook to log into other like platforms.
Yeah.
So that brought to me this really interesting point of like, why are we scared of maybe a foreign company data mining us, and we're so willing to trust an American company from data mining?
Well, I don't. I mean, so there's a couple things, and I was about to ask that if you think that this distrust in TikTok stems from like this larger cultural thing that's sort of been perpetuated by Donald Trump, like this whole China, China, America, us, them thing. But I don't think people trust Facebook at all, like period. Everybody's scared of the Zuck now, you know what I mean? And I know him and Jeff Bezos and all of them were just speaking to, I believe it was the Senate recently, about whether or not they have too much power. I don't think that people are trusting Facebook at all, man.
I will say, though, when the TikTok thing came up, everyone was talking about like deleting TikTok off their phones. Like there was this huge uproar. And when the Facebook thing happened, I didn't really see that discourse online. like it wasn't really like I should delete Facebook off my phone now. It was Facebook is bad. Like we've known Facebook is bad all along. And I think that kind of comes from what you were talking about. It's kind of I mean, I guess you could call it xenophobic narrative of like China bad, although I'm not going to like minimize a lot of the freedom breaches that China has had. But at the end of the day, TikTok has said, and I mean, it's been proven that they don't really send any information to China at all, although they are China owned. They are like United States based. So it's this really interesting situation where they're constantly skirting around regulations by sending information that they gather to sites in the US and Singapore, which is also another fun topic. But yeah.
Yeah. Shane, what do you think about all this TikTok stuff? Are you on TikTok?
Yes, I am. Oh man. I just watch. I don't make TikToks.
Oh, okay. You're a lurker.
But I don't know. For me, I think the like the TikTok versus like Facebook sort of thing. I feel like, I don't know. TikTok is like definitely like for entertainment, you know, like you don't really use it to network. You don't really use it like as, well, I guess it's like a social media platform, so you can, I guess. But I feel like for Facebook, for a lot of like the people that use it, which I feel like are all people that are like older than us, they use it to connect with family, you know, like people that they haven't talked to in like years. So I feel like as a, like thinking about like the way that each thing is used, I feel like TikTok's something that you can delete. You can find your entertainment like elsewhere through like a million other things, you know? But like for Facebook Messenger, like my parents use it to call family like that's halfway around the world, like on a pretty frequent basis, you know? So I don't know, like I feel like maybe the outrage over Facebook was kind of like diminished by thinking about like, you know, the kind of good that it's done, especially for families that like are abroad or like people that like are like halfway around the world, you know, like Messenger is still like a really good place to like call each other, video chat each other, even for like free. And I remember, you know, when I was younger, that wasn't a thing that we could do without like having to pay like a ton of money.
Yeah,
you know?
It's true.
Yeah. And I mean, my family's kind of the same. I have relatives in Colombia, and like my parents are avid Facebook users, especially my mother, because it's her way to connect with people around the world. But at the same time, to me, that's kind of why Facebook is that sort of insidious, like more insidious to me than TikTok is.
Yeah.
Because like at the end of the day, TikTok maybe knows where I am. Like TikTok knows I live in Chicago, but TikTok doesn't know like the 50 people that I'm related to.
Yeah.
Which to me is a little bit more terrifying. I think it's a lot easier to lie on TikTok than it is to lie on a site like Facebook. And it's interesting to me because I know for a fact Jonah is very anti-TikTok, but very pro-Facebook. So
I'm not pro Facebook. I'm not pro Facebook. I like the platform though. I like the actual tech component. I don't really like a lot of the business behind it. I don't like TikTok because TikTok is too I don't like bite-sized entertainment, period. I wasn't a big Vine guy. You know what I mean?
No.
Like TikTok to me, quite frankly, fills the same void in my heart that Tinder filled. You know what I mean?
No,
I don't understand.
Well, let me elaborate. Because TikTok it's all about the mindless swipe. You know what I mean? I'll tell you, I just went on TikTok for the first time recently. I attempted to become a TikTok influencer in 4 days. And in 4 days, I amassed a small following, but I am not famous yet. And so I just deleted the app yesterday, actually, and deleted my account. So I don't think I'm cut out for it. But I don't feel that there is any real sort of community or interaction within TikTok. It feels very voyeuristic to me just to swipe and like watch all these weird random people. You know what I mean? And then it was putting me into really, really weird like subgroups too. Like all the videos that I got were like about like boyfriends and girlfriends and like what your girls see and like stuff like that, just gross stuff. You know what I
Were
mean?
you on straight TikTok?
I was, and that's the other thing. There's too many freaking groups, man. There's straight TikTok, there's gay TikTok, there's e-girl TikTok, there's e-boy TikTok, there's skating TikTok, roller skating TikTok, snowboarding TikTok. There's so many TikToks. It's like sensory overload for me.
I guess so.
But I like Facebook a lot, actually, though, because I can follow like Facebook. I think I'm just biased because I've been on it for so long. But like me and my friends, that's where we get a lot of our meme content from. You know, there's a lot of good that comes out of me being on Facebook. But I don't know. I just don't like the platform TikTok, man.
I don't know. Maybe.
I agree with you, though. It definitely is a safer, you know, than letting Facebook have your data. I think the whole component of that Facebook is a network, and so it knows who you're related to and who you hang out with, and then it can start to amass that demographic data that way. Because this is like an important thing, is that anybody's fine with like, yeah, take my data. I'm just like one person. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to do anything. But when you start to look at the broader picture and you realize, okay, I'm just one person, but I'm living in right now in Bolingbrook, Illinois, which is a town of like a couple 10,000 people, right? And so we all have that in common. And then it starts to amass demographic data, which they can use then to target ads and like sell stuff. That's when things get dangerous, right? Is when they sort of make it class action in that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know about you, Jonah, but I have been on TikTok, Jesus. I've been on Facebook almost as long as you have, actually. I made a Facebook account around the same time.
Can't one-up me, bro.
I know, you know. Actually, my mother helped me make it, and it was so I could talk to my family when we moved to the U.S., and I just lost interest past the age of 10. However,
what's that say about me? That's an insult.
However,
Facebook.
The creepy men that find me through like a variety of network things have not lost interest. So I get like messages from people that live near me or like near my hometown almost daily. And
is that worse than the creepy men on TikTok just like gazing forever at the loop?
Listen, people gaze all the time. I just don't want to know about it. It's the same as my phone listening to / watching me. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still anti-TikTok, man.
I don't know.
I don't think it's going to change.
Okay, but like if I joined TikTok and in a span of like 4-ish days, all they showed me was straight TikTok, I would also be pretty anti-TikTok.
So this is important. Explain to me what what are the hallmarks and motifs of straight TikTok?
Okay, so straight TikTok is like...
Is it all about sex?
Honestly, like low-key, yeah. Okay.
That's what I was seeing.
The hallmark of straight TikTok is really just like cis men, like cis men, heterosexual cis men, who are like often white, who will make these like point of view videos where like they pretend to be someone's boyfriend or like someone's love interest, where it's like POV, you and me take like a nice long like stroll on the beach at midnight or something, or like they can even be like some sort of like role play scenario where like I work for the CIA and like I just got beat up and like I come home and like after a long day of like being beat up, I don't know. And like the really like creepy, insidious thing about it is that these videos are often watched by a lot of like younger like kids, really, like these like girls like that are like 12, 13, and they'll like comment on the videos some pretty weird, inappropriate things. And it's like, as a 20-ish year old person like making these videos for straight TikTok, like your audience is like young women, and it's like not okay. Like marketing that, promoting that, like really building a platform off of that, and like straight TikTok doesn't really care. You know, I don't know. It's just that's like one big hallmark of it. It's just creepy guys preying on like girls, and it's like, can we not? Yeah,
and then I feel like the other thing with TikTok is like that it's all wrapped up in this TikTok is like, it's all performance based, right? So there's no actual real sort of like there's a little bit of liability because their face is on the internet, but you know, somebody could always say, oh, well, in that video or in this comment, I was like playing a character or something like that. You know what I mean?
People do that all the time.
Right, but with something with Facebook, I feel like it's a little less like I can hide behind that defense. We're like, oh, well, I'm an entertainer. I was trying to entertain. Sorry you feel that way about how I offended you. Like stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I will say Facebook is interesting in the sense that I think it's maybe the only platform that's left that isn't influencer based anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Totally.
So every other platform like Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, of course, is very much like centered around people who other people like.
Yeah.
Influence the people
man.
who like them.
That's all.
And Facebook is still like kind of community and family based, or at least my understanding of it is.
It's for the boomers like me.
All right, Jonah.
I'm an old soul, dude. I want to ask if this is a straight TikTok.
Oh,
no.
I'm sure you've seen this one. This one was memed on pretty frequently. Have you seen this one?
Oh,
yes.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't even need to watch it.
POV, I see you walking down the aisle at our wedding. OMG.
Yes.
She's beautiful.
of a straight TikTok. But I think like the funniest ones are people who duet the video, which is like they take the video and they like add their own thing to it, and then they show up like side by side.
Like a series.
It's like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, but what they'll do like in these duets is like it'll be like them in a hot dog costume or something.
Yeah.
Like it's never actually like, it's such a meme that no one just like actually uses it like, oh, like here's me in like a pretty like dress like walking down the aisle. Like,
I would disagree with that, Shane. I have seen.
Have you?
Yeah.
I have not. I feel like the ones that have gotten like the most popular, maybe it's just because, you know, like my algorithm is tuned to be anti-straight TikTok. Yeah. So I've just seen ones where it's like Kermit walking down the aisle or a hot dog with mustard walking down the aisle.
I support that one, bro. I like that. I like that side of TikTok.
To be fair, I only saw those like serious duets when I first joined TikTok.
Yeah.
And then it like pinned me down, and it was like, you only like cat videos, so we're only going to show you cat videos, which I'm fine with.
Oh man, that's a whole nother freaking episode right there, dude. The algorithm in general, that we could talk about that for hours.
Yeah.
All right, but I think to sort of get at the last thing we wanted to talk about today, and I think it is interesting when it comes to TikTok. What really caught my eye this past week is I was reading this article from Wired. About how Netflix, like the way that they consider what a view is, has been shifting, and it's changed recently to the point where they consider if you view a single piece of media, regardless of how long it is, it could be a feature film, it could be a short film, it could be like an hour-long TV show, whatever. As long as you watch 2 minutes of it, they consider that as you having viewed it, almost like as if you've completed the viewing. And I think TikTok, the algorithm runs on a similar way where it's like, if you watch even like 10% of this, then it's like, oh, well, okay, you watch 10% of it. I think that's what happened with me. Is I think I watched 10% of a straight TikTok video, and it was like, bro, this is all you want. And then it just fed it to me. You know what I mean? But that kind of caught my eye. And I think it's interesting because I think it applies to everything we've talked to today. But it's like, we know for a fact that our behavior online is being monitored. But our behavior online isn't even being truthfully monitored, right? It's being looked at seemingly only when it's convenient. Because like the whole thing with this Netflix stuff is that they're using this to sort of inflate viewership counts, right? So for shareholders and stuff like that, which is kind of nefarious. You know what I mean? I mean, that doesn't strike me the right way. Because it's like, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this, but as like a film major and a filmmaker, it's like if somebody watched 2 minutes of something I made, I would not consider that as viewed it. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, obviously, like our ability to focus on things maybe has gone down, and they're kind of taking that and running with it. But I also think it can work against them in a way, if that makes sense, right? Because I mean, I know exactly what you mean, because one time, like maybe 3 months ago, my roommate was like, I really just need you to watch this one piece of a clip from an anime.
Yeah.
And I have never in my life watched anything that has anything to do with anime except for that one time. And I still get recommended animes to the point where I've like stopped going on my Netflix recommended because it annoys me so much. And I just want to watch a documentary and it doesn't recommend those to me anymore, despite the fact that I watch more, if not the same amount every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know, I don't know if there's a lot of people who just watch like 2 minutes of something while they're browsing. And
well, it's also because Netflix has the autoplay feature. So you finish a movie, oh, I'm going to go use the bathroom, and then 2 minutes of it plays. Boom. You know what I mean? That's how they get those views. Oh, I'm going to go grab a snack or something. Just let it autoplay, right?
Yeah.
Like that stuff adds up, you know?
I mean, I think it's not even, I don't know, maybe you disagree with me on this. I think that maybe what you said is right. Maybe it's not viewer-based. Because I can't think of a world in which that could work to kind of make your platform more appealing to your actual audience and your customer base, right? I think it really is like advertiser and creator.
That's what's kind of, that's what's always kind of, and I reported on this a little bit earlier in the year, but that's always the one thing that's been odd to me as I was researching about like Netflix specifically, which is like they have these like meetings that they stream every year where they'll like it's for their shareholders. I'm pretty sure they may not be public, but you can find them online. But Netflix has it all laid out at the beginning of every year exactly what percentage of their content is going to be for this like fiscal year. So let's say like this year 20% of all the content we publish or we produce is going to be anime, and like 30% is going to be feature film, like 10% is going to be television, and that doesn't change, you know what I mean, because it's all algorithm based and it's not necessarily interpersonal in that way. And I mean that's always struck me as being just super weird. I don't know, what do you guys think?
For me, like on my recommended page, like I have like accounts for like, you know, for my parents, for me, for my brother, to keep these sort of like recommendations separate. Because like I get what you mean, Cam, about like, you know, watching like one piece of anime and now all of a sudden like Netflix thinks that like all I want is anime, and I don't want that. But because my brother is like going into a phase where he's like super into anime, and I want that removed from like like I want it separate. Right.
Maybe good friend.
But I can see how like that can be annoying, problematic. It's like when a view is just so arbitrarily counted, like why, like what does it even mean? You know, and especially for people like making films where like this sort of data like probably matters more, you know? It's like that's not like a fair representation. It's not a fair count at all.
And it's also like a lot of these streaming services are super like tight-lipped about their viewership counts. Like they don't publish, or their subscriber counts too. Like they don't like to publish that stuff. And then so when you take this out in the broader spectrum of like, you know, the rest of our data that's being collected, it makes me question. It's like, yeah, sometimes companies tell us what they're getting and what they're using it for, but like how much of that is spin? You know what I mean? And how much of that is true? I don't trust them for a second, including Facebook and TikTok and all of them. Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, I think it gets more problematic when you take something like Netflix, where it is very much like professionally produced content of people who take it very seriously and care a lot about what they do. Especially because, I mean, I know that you probably know this, but like Netflix like curates covers depending on what you like click on the most. So sometimes I wonder if that helps their originals more than it helps some of the original content that they buy off of like people who are really big deals, right? Like a, I don't know, like a Tribeca film or a larger production or even an independent film that did really well in the circuit, right? In the festival circuit. If they only have one cover, right, and they have this really wonderful film that Netflix is paid for and they continue to get paid for depending on how well it does, how well is it going to do against 30 different Netflix covers curated to get people to click on it? And how fair is that to the artist who's created that media?
Yeah. It's tricky stuff, man.
Tricky.
Seriously. All right. I think we're pretty much at time for our first episode. What a convenient place to stop. Are there any last words either of you would want to get in on sort of some of the stuff we've been talking about? You want to vent? Tell us about your day.
Having this conversation is nice because I know that there are other people that
Oh, you're cutting out.
That like is aware that this is happening, that this is like, oh no. Well, I was just saying that like, it's nice to have this conversation and like know that there are other people that are encountering this and that feel the same,
Yeah.
But also I feel less bad feeling apathetic about it,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel you. Cam, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, me too. I'm glad none of us care, clearly.
That may be on the next episode, man, whether or not we care about being apathetic. We clearly don't care, but do we care about not caring? That's Matrix level stuff, dude.
Tune in next time.
Another episode of Dragon Ball Z. All right, well, thank you guys so much for speaking with me today. I really appreciated having both of you guys on.
For sure, yeah.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you, too. And then thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.